I was not expecting June to be as high of a reading month as it was for me. Actually, so many times throughout June, I felt like I was burning out. So I'm shocked that I read a total of 10 books. I thought I had read like 8, which is still really good for me. I aim for 8 to 10 books. I would probably, on a really good month, want it to be 12, but 8 to 10 is very doable for me. Less than 8, I kind of feel like I didn't accomplish enough. Take in mind that reading is my full-time job, so I do need to be reading for like vlogs and content and stuff, and I have to prioritize reading. A lot of people don't read 8 books. Some people read 8 books in a year, and I think that that is so amazing. Any sort of reading is incredible. Reading is so good for our brains. Anyone who picks up even a single book is an incredible reader, in my opinion. Oops, a little tangent, but yeah, I just was kind of shocked looking at all these stats. I actually had a pretty good month. I did participate in the Amazing Readathon, which is a competitive team-based readathon that happens every year in June, created by my friend Brie at Four Paws in a Book. We go to different cities, and there's a prompt per the city. It's kind of based loosely on The Amazing Race, and I think it's a lot of fun. This would have been my 3rd year participating, and I can't wait for next year. I think this was the best installment of it. I had so much fun with it, and I think everyone else did too. So I think that kept me reading a decent amount. I had a lot of fun during Face Off as I explored a new genre. I read a total of 4,719 pages this month, which is higher than both May and April and March, which is funny because I thought I read shorter books this month. Apparently I didn't. That comes out to be an average of 157 pages a day had to be read, and the average page count of a book is then at 471 pages. My most read genre in June, surprising, romance. I told you I tried a new genre during Face Off, and I really, really fell in love. I have dabbled in romance a couple times throughout this year and maybe even last year and a little bit in my life, but June, the romances made me be like, I just want to read contemporary romance for a whole month straight. So I'm very, very excited. I feel like it's always fun to find something new that you really, really enjoyed. Specifically, I found that I really like romantic suspense. I gave out 2 5 stars, 3 4 stars, and 5 3 stars, but 0 2 stars and 0 1 stars. That's a good month, which puts my average star rating for the month at 3.7, which is now my 2nd highest month. January is still my highest because I gave out so many 5 stars in that month. So like June is my 2nd best reading month of the year. And I thought I was burnt out. That's kind of crazy. I read 6 romance and 4 fantasy romance in this month. The romance really got me. I'm very excited to talk about a lot of these actually. I had a really, really fun month actually thinking about it. This is wild how just like reflecting on it can change what I thought, because in the moment I literally remember being like, I'm so happy June is over. I'm so burnt out. July is a fresh start, and looking back on it, I'm like, why did I feel that way? Did I just have a bad day? Let's start with my first read of June, which was Lost and Lassoed by Lila Sage. I started this month off so strong. I gave this 5 stars. This is going to be such a hard book to top in the romance genre. I think I started too strong. This is a cowboy romance. It's the 3rd in the Meadowlark series, and this one follows Teddy and Gus, and Teddy and Gus's romance has been set up since book 1, so we've seen like bits and pieces of them, which I think really helped me feel so invested into this one because I'd already known their characters. I'd already kind of had an idea of their backstory and their friendships and their relationships and things like that. I kind of knew what to expect from their personalities, and so jumping right into this, I already had felt so invested into their story and wanting to see it come together. She thrives in chaos, he prefers routine. The only thing they have in common is how much they hate each other. People like put this as enemies to lovers. Hate to love is even kind of unsure. Really, they just have misconceited ideas of who the other person is based on their love of another person. His little sister is her best friend, and he hates her because every single time his sister's ever been in trouble, Teddy's kind of been the instigator. She's been right there, and so he's like, I don't like you. You're always getting my little sister in trouble. And then she just kind of thinks he's got to stick up his bum. And I just like had so much fun as they broke down each other's walls and realized how similar they were, but also how their differences could bring out to the best in each other. And I think that makes a perfect pairing. As someone who is sometimes so the same as my partner, but sometimes so different, our differences over the past 9 years of being together have really blended together, and like I have learned from his traits and he's learned from my traits, and I think we are better people because of it. And I really think I saw that in this story. The like plot of this is single dad romance. He needs a nanny. Teddy is available, and Teddy's his nanny and comes and like lives with him a couple days a week and stuff. It's a pretty like typical romance plot, but I think that so much breadth was added into this story with a lot of the conversations. I found Teddy so damn relatable because she has this whole conversation and story going on, like a plot line in the background of feeling lost, aka Lost and Lassoed, of feeling like her life isn't where it should be as her friends are getting married and having kids and settling down, and and she's like, I don't necessarily want those things. Like, I don't need those right now. I don't necessarily want them, but like, I feel like I should want them. I feel like I should need them. I feel like my life is not to the point that society deems it should be, and I'm feeling lost and unheard and unsure what to do about it, even though you can still love your life in those moments. And I feel like that is just like so relatable for me. I felt those things completely many times. I honestly felt just so seen by Teddy as a character, and that's why I connected so hard to this. I also thought there was a really beautiful plot line with her father and things like that, and I honestly just think the family relationships in this are so good. Like, Gus and his siblings have very much a true family relationship. I loved seeing them have family dinners, and his daughter has so much spunk, and you can see the love on this ranch. And I also liked that we got to see a decent amount of like the ranch life. I've learned I don't like when a cowboy romance says that it's a cowboy romance and then I don't see any cowboys. Like, give me hay bales and horse riding and cows and like all of that. I want it all. Like, let me see the ranch life. So thoroughly enjoyed this one. Would recommend it to a lot of people. My favorite in the series. However, right after this, I dived right into the fourth book in the series, which is called Wild and Wrangled. I think this one is the best written. It's another story we've kind of been waiting for. It kind of started to get set up in book 2. I did give this one 4 stars. I just like felt so much more connected to Teddy as a character, and I liked the tropes in this one a lot more than I liked in Wild and Wrangled. That one's a second chance romance. We're following a couple who got together in high school and something happened and they broke up, and they still kind of have feelings for each other all these years later. However, she is getting married right now and her marriage falls through at the start of the 4th one, and he is the only one who actually knows how to comfort her at all. And we just kind of watched them get retangled up into each other's lives. We learned about what happened back in high school. We learned about why they have maybe not been friends since then. We kind of learned like why the marriage fell off and things like that. I think the writing in Wild and Wrangled was so good. I cried in it. Like, I literally teared up, and I really did love the relationship in that one, and I also just thought it was so well done. I think just like the conversation in Lost and Lasso just hit me harder, but I think that there's also a really good conversation in Wild and Wrangled about like love and happiness and not settling, and also parents because in all of the Meadowlark series we've seen a very good parent, a very like incredible parent for the 3 siblings, and we get to see a different side of a parent. I think in 4 we get to see how money can kind of corrupt and things like that, and I thought that was a really interesting take. I loved this series with my whole heart, and I can't wait to pick up what Lila Sage reads next. Like, it was so good. Reads what she writes next. I'm trying to get an arc of that so badly. If anyone has any connections, like, I need that in my life ASAP. I'm very excited. And then after that, I read Lady of Doom and Devotion, which is the 4th and final book in the series by Eva Chase. This one really let me down. I gave it 3 stars, but I was honestly kind of just bored by the whole situation. I really liked book 1 and I did like book 2, but since then I haven't really liked the series that much. It's a why choose romance, and we're following our main character who stumbles across a dead body and accidentally steals that person's soul into her own, and she now has a voice talking inside her head. She finds out that the person that was murdered because they know something about a conspiracy to kill the crown, and the voice inside her head ends up helping convince her, like our main character, to help with this investigation, and she has to go back and meet like the men that are helping her, and it's a why choose. The romance in this really fell flat. I think I loved book 1 for like the murder mystery and the world building because I think that's really cool. I think the series I wouldn't recommend just because if you're reading a why choose and you don't like the romance, you don't think the romance is well done, it's probably not it. So I don't know how to feel about this one currently, but I'm just going to bless and release it right now. It's done. It's a series that's done, so that makes me feel better. Another romance, I read Wild Eyes by Elsie Silver. I apparently have some hot takes on Elsie Silver because I ended up giving this one 3 stars. I don't think Elsie Silver is for me. It was really hard as I had just finished the Meadowlark series, and that one stuck out to me so much, and the Elsie Silver series definitely has some comparisons to it, and I just think that the characters in Lila Sage hit me so much harder than the characters in Elsie Silver, and that probably was a disservice to the Elsie Silver series, reading them kind of back to back. I found that the writing was very tell, not show. She very much told us exactly how people were feeling at all times and didn't let me like sit and consider what that scene really meant for those characters. She just like told me what it meant. I did think it was fun. I like enjoyed the banter and stuff, and I like enjoyed the conversation in this one about like fame and stuff, but I just like don't think it was as well developed for me as the Lila Sage stories, and I think reading them back to back really was a dishonor to the thing. But this is my second Elsie Silver, and so I'm scared to read more. I have actually read more currently in the month I'm in, but you'll have to wait for next month's wrap up or some vlogs for that. Then we dived into my second romance addiction. This is when I learned that I liked romantic suspense because I picked up Bourbon and Lies by Victoria Wilder during the Face Off, which is like a 48-hour readathon within the Amazing Readathon. And I flew through book 1, that I read book 1, 2, and 3 this weekend. We'll talk about book 1 first. I ended up giving this one 4 stars. Essentially, we're following a character who sees something. She's put into witness protection program. She is sent to Fiasco, Kentucky by her like police protector person. I forget what those are called, the secret agent, to like kind of start a new life and stay like secret and hidden because they obviously don't want her to be murdered because of what she's seen. And there she ends up working for the Bourbon Boys and living on their ranch. She ends up spiking the interest of the youngest brother, and he is an ex-cop, so he's like, there's something suspicious about why you're here because his oldest brother knows but he doesn't, and he's like trying to figure it out. And as they kind of poke each other's buttons a lot, they end up, you know, falling in love. This was steamy, this was hot. I think it's a little bit more smut heavy. Like, I don't think it's the slowest burn. I had so much fun with it. I really enjoyed the plot line in these. Honestly, I could talk about all 3 actually. Let's be real. Let's talk about all 3. So Bourbon and Lies I gave 4 stars. Bourbon and Secrets I also gave 4 stars, and Bourbon and Proof I gave 5 stars. I liked the romance better in Bourbon and Lies. I liked the plot line better in Bourbon and Secrets, and Bourbon and Proof just had it all. There was so much like unique smut in these. They were fun. I liked how the bourbon came to play. I liked that we learned about like the making of bourbon and stuff. I liked a lot of the tropes. All have some kind of suspense plot line happening. I feel like the series as a whole wrapped up really nicely. I like really did enjoy this series. They are like similar but different. Like maybe reading them back to back isn't like the best idea, but I had so much fun with it. And I also cannot wait for whatever Victoria Wilder writes next, which is a character that we have met in Bourbon and Proof, I believe. So very excited. I would definitely recommend these if you're looking for like a romantic suspense. They just like, I was kicking my feet, but also like so invested in what was happening because there's like also like suspicious things and stuff. Then I read Realm of Thieves by Karina Halley, and I ended up giving this one 3 stars. This is my second Karina Halley, and I kind of felt very similar about both of the books I've read. I feel like they're very unique. I really like her writing style, and her world building is just so fresh and unique. Like, she really takes something and puts her own spin on it. In this one, we have dragons, but she says she got some inspiration from dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, and I think you really do see this. They're not like your typical companion dragon. They're like Jurassic Park dragons. Like, if there were dragons instead of dinosaurs in Jurassic Park, and there's all like science to it. Like, the magic comes from like eating a dragon egg, which I thought was just like so different. I'm like, how has that not been done yet? I do think that there was so much lush to this world and stuff, but in both of her books, I felt like the romance has happened too quickly. Realm of Thieves was definitely that way, and I also think that in this one, both of them have been standalones, and I would like to see a fantasy romance series from her that isn't standalones. These ones are standalone companion series, so like the next book follows like a different couple, so we're still in this world, but I think that having the start, the middle, and the end is kind of what made it feel so rushed, because there was so much with her unique world building and stuff. She's just shoving so much into a book that I think I would prefer to see it like spaced out, like a duology, a trilogy. I think that would really help me personally enjoy her stories. They are for other people. People give them 5 stars, but that's just like a little complaint I have. In this one, we're following our main character, who is a dragon egg stealer. The dragons essentially are locked on an island and they can't leave. There's like magic spelled upon them, but you can go in if you're willing to risk it. And some people do, because obviously the dragon eggs, when you eat them, they give you kind of like enhanced abilities. So she steals eggs for a living. When someone decides that she needs to steal eggs for them instead of their competition, they kidnap her and they make her a deal and things like that. Yeah, I feel like there was a lot of expansiveness to this. It just didn't like hit hard enough because it was so rushed. I honestly think that if this had been a duology, it could have been 5 stars for me. This is why, looking at my stats, I had so many 5 stars, and then I just had 3 star after 3 star after 3 star for the end of the month. This is why I felt burnt out. And like disappointing 3 stars, things that I thought were going to be 5 stars. So that's why the burnout felt like it hit so hard. Next up, I read City of Souls and Sinners, which the first book in this series was a 5 star for me. Loved Darien Castle so much. Book 2 fell flat for me. I gave it 3 stars. It was far too long, first off. This is probably why my stats are so high, because I think this is like an 800-page book. I honestly don't even remember my complaints about this book anymore. Like, this book has kind of been blacked out of my brain, which I think is the worst thing that a book can do. Like, to not remember anything about a book is awful as someone who does remember books. I do think there was a lack of romance in this one, and I loved the first book for the romance, and in this one they are separated quite a bit, and I think I started to see the murky world building because in book one I was just so along for the ride because I like loved their moments together that I didn't care about the rest. But with book two having them separated, I definitely was questioning why things were happening and like why this existed but this didn't exist and things like that. I think the pacing was definitely off. I don't think a book needs to be 800 pages. Like, I truly don't, ever. And that's all I remember. Oh god. The first book in the series though, I loved. Darian Castle was the book boyfriend to beat all book boyfriends for a bit, and then I read this one and I was like, Oh, also, all the characters read the same. That was a big complaint I had, is we introduced new POVs, but I could never tell whose head I was in because they all sounded the same. All the men had the exact same tone, exact same way they talked. They were all morally gray, but like a sweet cinnamon roll. I had some complaints in this one. I am still intrigued to try book three, but I have heard book three has some tropes I don't like, so I'm nervous. If I'm not loving book three, I will DNF it and I won't continue on in the series. I think that is my plan for this one, just because like this one really let me down. Like, honestly, thinking back, I'm like, is this a 2-star? But I think I still enjoyed my time, or else I would have DNF'd it. And then I ended the month off with another 3-star that I thought was going to be a 5-star. A Fate Fortune Fire by Hazel McBride. I had been screaming about this one, saying it's my next 5-star prediction. I'm gonna give it 5 stars for like 4 months. What a Delulu version of myself. I liked this one. I actually think I liked this one more than Realm of Thieves for the romance. But why do these books leave my brain sometimes? There was too much going on in this book, and this one was too short. Essentially, we're following a world where they're normally the like gods, everything they believe in this country is a matriarchal society, and the ruling always goes to like the firstborn female. However, some males came along, didn't like that because they stopped having females, so they just made their males in charge over and over again. And we're following our main character, who is the last royal like female. She was born and put into hiding, and she's waiting for her chance to come steal her throne back. She does that when the king dies. She says she's going to bond to his dragon and take his throne. Things kind of go awry in that. I feel like the synopsis sets this up to be a little bit different than it is. Her plan is foiled, and it says that she's like thrust into a game of vicious politics and plots. I don't think this was very like political because of what happens. There's a lot of movement in this. We kind of jump from like location to location to location, and I think our main character is never part of the politics. She may be like a pawn, but she's never like involved in any of it. You don't really hear a lot about it. It just kind of feels like she's being pushed certain ways. I feel like we did too much. I don't feel like the dragon really mattered in this. We barely saw the dragon. I think there was just a lot in the story, and there was potential. It just needed to be longer. However, I did say, this is why I remember that I liked this better than Realm of Thieves. I did remember saying like maybe this will be Spark of the Everflame because I see something here. And with Spark of the Everflame, which is right there, I hated book one. Well, I didn't hate it, but I almost gave it 2 stars. I gave it a 3-star, but it was close to a 2-star. But I just saw something right at the end. I saw something. And so I went right into book 2, and I ended up loving book 2 and giving it 5 stars. And I could see book 2 in this being that way too, just because I saw something like right there at that end. I was like, oh, that could be a good story, especially with like a little bit more practice in your writing maybe. And so I am intrigued, but I also have a fear that by the time book 2 comes out, because it's like a year from now at least, I won't care and I won't pick it up, versus Spark of the Everflame I did like right after, because I was like, if it's gonna work, it's gonna work right now. I feel like I won't end up picking this up, but who knows? I am keeping it just in case for the time being. My favorite of the month was obviously Lost and Lassoed. I actually just did a video where I told you my favorite and least favorite read of every single month. This made it in for June. I'll leave that on the screen for you to check out. I do it every year, and I think it's a lot of fun to see like how my year is going so far. I would love to know what your favorite read of June was, and if you had any misses like me. And if you competed in the Amazing Readathon, did you make it to all 10 cities? I didn't actually. I made it to 9 cities, and then one of my books went to sightseeing, but I did not make it to the last city. If you'd like to leave an emoji just to say you were here, leave me a key emoji, and have yourselves an absolutely remarkable day.